Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Sprinkle, sprinkle, everyone. So today we're going to be discussing the psychology of vampires. Since it is October, it's close to Halloween, I thought this would be a fun discussion. So lately I have been reading books on vampires, about writers that wrote about vampires, etc., etc. And all of these are going to be linked in the description below in the first link, I believe. If not, then I'm going to put it here. And this is just a link to my Amazon suggestions where I suggest books and things for this channel. So definitely check that out. So today we're going to be discussing the psychology of vampires. Now, so many people are attracted to the allure of vampires. A lot of people are vampires for Halloween, or they're just fascinated by them year round. So I thought it would be a cool video to discuss the psychology of it. So vampires probably are going to be considered your stereotypical narcissistic type person, or a person that uses persuasion and the power of suggestion to get you to do things for them or on their behalf. They also have, emotional vampires, psychic vampires, and of course, physical vampires. But we're going to talk more on the emotional and the energetic types of vampires. So many people are actually vampires, but they don't realize it. And the best way to find out if you are one is if you never run out of energy, or if you're energized and you can do things for a long time after certain activities. So for example, if you talk to a lot of people, if you're surrounded by a lot of people, or you go to places where there's a lot of people, if you leave those places energized with more energy than you arrived with, most likely you are some sort of energetic vampire. If you get your energy from people's emotions or reactions, you probably are an energetic vampire. Now, all of this doesn't mean negative or positive. It just means this is how you revive your energy. Some people are what they call psychic vampires, and they are purposeful. That means they know what they're doing. They do it on purpose. So intentional psychic vampires try to arouse emotion or anger or whatever it is that they're going to draw from. They try to, invoke it or create it within another person so that they can use it, to energize themselves, or to take energy from another person. That's why sometimes after you visit certain people, you feel tired, drained. Y'all know that type of person that will call you and tell you a bunch of stuff you don't want to hear and totally just drain all of your energy, and still can talk for another 3 hours if you would let them. Those are the energetic vampires. So those are the type of people that they may be unintentional. They just don't know any better. So I'm going to show y'all a book that I have read. It's okay. It's kind of like just giving you the basics of, psychic vampirism, a little bit of history, and things you can do to protect yourself, or things to show that you could be one or not. So this one is called Vampires, and by Constantinos, The Occult Truth, and it is linked in that first link in the description. I also linked it here somewhere in the comments at the beginning. So this one is definitely okay, I'll just say, because I have other books that I have read, and it says some of the same things, but just easier. So if you like an easier read, this one is good. It's on Amazon. Another book that I've been reading lately is Dracul. And this book, I think I did a review on it the last video. Well, I started to read it. I haven't finished reading this. This is by um, Dacre Stoker. I hope I said it right. And J.D. Barker. And it is about Bram Stoker and writing about vampires and how he thinks vampires were real. And I think when he meant real, I think he means more energetic, but then he takes it to the blood part, but still blood is life force. So you can interchange it for energy when you're reading it for metaphor. Okay, so I would say a lot of people who surround themselves with certain types of thinkers, you can also have a mental vampire. Oh, thanks for the donation, Sprinkle Sprinkle. So, JT, Sprinkle Sprinkle. Mental vampires will mentally try to suggest things to you, coerce you to do things, persuade you, use a form of hypnosis or whatever. And a lot of times, those type of vampires are the ones that want to change your thinking and your actions. So when you come across a person that's very influential and you find yourself doing things that they have suggested, or you find yourself doing things that they mention or whatever, you may have fallen victim to their, sort of vampire powers. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh, Nina, thanks for the donation. Appreciate you. So, and of course, you said, what about the vampire that uses lust? I mean, you got to look good first. So, um, yes, they can drain you by using lust, but still, that is still up to you because you kind of have that free will there. But it is a persuasion technique. And so that's kind of literally up to you. But if you do fall for that, it will definitely, I would say it's more of a physical and a mental form of vampirism. And then if they get your energy, or if you're always thinking about them, or if, then of course, then there's the energetic part. Sprinkle, sprinkle. He said Camilla is a female, a vampire that predates Dracula. I have not read that. I got to put that on my list. Let me go ahead and write that down because I'm always looking for new books to read. So thanks for the. Let's see what she say, Camilla and Carmilla. Sorry, I did not see that R there. Appreciate that, Sky. Appreciate that, bougie goddess. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay, so let's get into the psychology of vampires. Vampires like to persuade you to put your thinking in a certain direction. They also like to see that you will bend to their will. So if you ever come across a person that is very adamant on you doing what they ask or trying to persuade you in a certain direction, they are a vampire. They want to control. They want to persuade. They want you to bend to their will. So a lot of people just call these people controlling, but they're going to do it in a way that is charming. They're going to do it in a way that is, influential. They're not going to be forceful or mean, or, you're not going to be able to know that they're doing those things in a harmful manner. So they're very mysterious, but they're not going to use any form of, way to let you know that they're not a good person, or that they're, not trying to seduce you. So they're going to be very seductive, charming, and all those kind of things to get you to do what they want. Okay. they're not going to, they're very emotionally intelligent. They do not sway easily. You can't anger them easily. If you can anger one, if you can anger a person easily, they are most likely unaware that they are energetic or mental vampires. They are unaware if they are not emotionally in control. Okay. So this is how you can tell the difference between an intentional vampire and one who is unintentional, one who doesn't know what they're doing, one who's not doing this on purpose. So one, you can get angry really quick. Those are the unintentional vampires. They have no idea. The ones that take a long time to anger, who are very persuasive, who are very charming and seductive, and no matter what you do, they're in control of their emotions somehow, some way. Those are the intentional vampires that are probably more dangerous, not in, well, it depends on what they're trying to get you to do, than the unintentional vampires. So watch out for those. They are also the most attractive kind because they don't let on to what they're doing. You can't anger them. So therefore, they're controlling the emotional ebb and flow. They like to stay in charge of that. So they don't allow themselves to be influenced by whatever you're doing emotionally. Okay. They may, but they may not show it. Let's just say that. Okay. So a siren, you said, but the difference between a vampire and a siren? I think a siren uses music and song, and they're mostly female, of course, female, to lure in. And a siren is not a mermaid. So a lot of people don't realize. I think a siren is like the winged creature that sits on the rocks to lure sailors in, but they can literally fly away. Mermaids are not the same as sirens unless they transform into a siren. We don't know. Like this video is about vampires, so another thing that vampires like to do is they're going to be very well put together. They're going to be very well put together to lure people in. This is why when you watch vampire movies, the vampires are always well put together, well dressed, they have money. And that's to lure people in. Because another metaphor is that, you know, the rich feed off of the poor. So they're always going to be rich or have money of some sort. They're going to be able to feed off of the lesser. And the reason why they do that is because they've gotten to a position of status to where people believe them, they want to be like them, and they'll pretty much follow them and do whatever they say. So this is another metaphor for influential and compulsion, and you know, doing what someone says or holding one's opinion in high regard. So a lot of people could be like rich, famous, or this and that. Their vampiric energies and abilities increase as their fame and their money and their influence increase. Okay. Another thing, like whenever you're watching the vampire movies, the modern ones, I'll say, or the shows, the TV shows, you always see vampires partaking in the finer things. They may not eat like giant meals, or you know, they're not very gluttonous with food, but you'll see them partaking in the finer things. And when I say finer things, I mean the luxurious items. So you'll see them like drinking, you know, aged scotch, or drinking red wine or champagne or something that's very, you know, expensive. You'll always see them drinking things that are expensive, some sort of alcohol or whatever. And y'all know that alcohol is from, the word akul or akul, which means body eating spirit. So the reason why a vampire would always be drinking alcohol is because it represents their vampiric energy. They eat life force, body eaters. You know what I'm saying? So right now I'm drinking tea, so you know. So vampires who often hang around or deal with other vampires, they can feed off of each other too. So they have to constantly use that alcohol as a form of draining or eating that other vampire's body, quote unquote, from taking energy from there. So that's why whenever you see like people meet up for a drink, they're like, "Oh, let's go have a drink. Would you like this fine scotch?" So they know that if they're going to be feeding off of each other, so they use the spirits or the wine. This is not a spirit, this is tea, but I'm just using it as an example. They use the wine or the liquor or the spirits to kind of alleviate that sort of energy taking or giving. So that's why you'll always see them with a drink or something like that. Like I said, there are a lot of people that are vampires and intentionally and unintentionally. Some don't know, some do. Okay. And when I'm talking about that, I don't mean literally sucking people's blood, unless that's what you want to do. But literally, you could just take energy, influence, and persuade people to do your will and get pretty much with the same type of, reaction out of it than that. Now, when you start talking about fluid exchange, that could be a sexual vampire. And they can use sex to influence. They like a lot of these dusty guys who have nothing else to offer. They may use their sexual energies to persuade you to do certain things. So that's why, like, you want to go for someone that always has more to offer, because when they drain your energy of certain, or when you drain their energy, because it could go both ways, you need more energy to draw from, like some money, some spending, some leisure, some things like that. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So, oh, Bougie got a sprinkle, sprinkle. This video is about vampires, baby. We got to talk about the vampires. If you're gonna pay $1.99 and the video says psychology of vampires, you got to wait till the next video. Okay, but thank you so much for the donation. Let's stay on the subject, please. Let's stay talking about the psychology of vampires. This is why I put the title there. Okay, sprinkle, sprinkle. Appreciate it. So maybe towards the end of the video, when I'm done talking, then we can discuss some spirits. And since you did donate, I can always scroll back up and see that question again. So we'll try to bring it to the end of the video. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Y'all, so let's stay here. Stay here. Don't try to bring it anywhere else. Let's stay right here. Okay. So the alcohol, I just said you have to drink in order to stop others from. It's like you're drinking yourself. So, like, let's just say you're talking to another vampire, right? Y'all are discussing something. Drinking that alcohol is like drinking yourself, because instead of allowing them to drain your energy, you're taking it right back into you. Your spirits, your energy, you're eating your own body so that they can't feed off of you. You're eating the own energies of your body so that they can't feed off of you while you're discussing and talking. Okay. I hope that cleared that up. So, yeah, it's kind of like being in a room and you have your own oxygen tank, and you're breathing, and they're not going to be able to steal your air. Okay, let's just put it that way. Also, there's another way that you can look at this. So in this book, it is linked in the first link below, vampires. It also talks about how in the old days, how they used to think that a living person would, a dead person, a dead person would live off the energy of a living person um, in the grave. And so that's why they will dig up the graves and like stab the corpse or cut the head or do something like that, because they felt like that corpse was living off of someone else's energy. They also discuss in that book how when vampires die, their energy is so used to getting other people's energies that their ghost or their vampiric energy still roams around taking energy from people in large amounts. Because in real life, when they were living, they were vampires. You get it? So this is why in some of the shows that you see with vampires, there are always lots of candles lit, lots of fires, lots of stuff like that, because that's drawing energy from those energy sources versus people. Okay. Instead of drawing energy from people, they draw the energy from the candles, the fireplace, and then they're always drinking, so they're always drinking their own body and keeping their own energy flowing in order to deal with certain types of people. So this is why you always see those elements in certain movies and shows. Another thing is like, okay, so if you practice necromancy, where you communicate with spirits or the dead, or ancestors or whatever, and you call upon them for their knowledge, for their wisdom, for their guidance, for their energy. That is another form of vampirism, which is why when you offer your ancestors or whatever spirits that you're working with, if you work with them, you offer them water, food, some type of fire, candle, energy. You're offering them energy coming from you or your resources, because it is a form of energy exchange. You know what I mean? And so that they won't feed on your energy, you're giving them offerings in return. So if you ever do a spell or you work with energies or spirits or ancestors and you don't provide much offerings or any offerings, or you may feel drained after the process because they drained your energy, because you're getting something from them, wisdom, knowledge, energy, help on your behalf, and you have not offered them any candles, incense, water, food, so they had to take from you. So that's another form of vampirism. But make sure if you're going to practice necromancy, make sure you're working. If you're actually a vampire if you're working with necromancy, because you're allowing the dead to feed off of you. So you're actually working with the vampire. Now, if you want to reverse that, like I said, you have to offer offerings. So this is why in some magical traditions, before they work with the ancestor, they do a sacrifice, some type of animal or whatever, which I don't recommend. You could just put some food out there, a fire, a little candle, some candy, a piece of cake or something. I don't know. But back in the old days, they didn't have a lot of stuff to create or time to make certain things. So they would just pull out one of the animals on the farm, So that's why I'm saying when you work with these energy spirits or ancestors or vampiric energies, you have to give energy. Okay. What I like to do is This is why when you go over houses of people that practice magic, they always have some type of candle burning, something cooking on the stove, some type of altar with some type of offerings on it to allow themselves to not be drained by, these energies. Um, if you are a living vampire, one that's not dead or an ancestor, it's the same thing. When someone comes over your house, and that's why you offer them to drink. That's why this is polite manners. And like if you watch the old school movies, you'll see when someone invites you over to their house, they'll have they'll offer you a drink, they'll offer you a snack or something like that. They'll sit down. They'll usually have some type of music or uh, candle or fire going, or just some libations. That's why they call it libations. And that was proper in the day, and it was always proper. So when you visit someone's house, you bring them a gift. So it's like an offering. So instead of them stealing your energy, you got them a gift. So it all goes with it. Okay. Can you be a vampire and a witch? Of course. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Yes. So I'm telling you, anybody can be one. They just may not realize that they are one. And they have rules, and like not rules, but like manners allow you not to be drained. This is why when they say, "Oh, you're not proper. You don't have proper manners." When you came over my house, you didn't bring me anything. Or you came over my house empty-handed. Or when I came over your house, you didn't offer me any drinks or tea. This is why, and like people always offer you something, or you bring something, because it's about the vampire energy. You don't want to be drained, and you don't want to drain others, so you need that offering or that interference. Uh-oh. You said ritual suggestions to complete on October 2. I'm not doing I don't do anything. I'm just do it in your mind. It's the best thing I can tell you. Sprinkle, sprinkle. um, Let me tell y'all something. If y'all are scared of magic, y'all aren't vampires. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Or witches. And if you don't fall into any of those categories, thanks for the donation, by the way. Let me go ahead and tell you the best way to do this. Get you some candles. Get you some candy, ma'am. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Don't put a bowl of candy outside your door. There goes some candy, some offerings. And keep, that's why they like the jack-o'-lantern. That's why they got candles lit. That's why they got stuff to keep out of your house from stealing your energy. So put the candy out and light the jack-o'-lantern down. Sprinkle, sprinkle. They used to light turnips back in the old days before they got, to the new world. They did turnips or whatever, or a lantern or whatever. Okay. That's how, because the traditions and the customs of the holiday will definitely help you. Okay. Cook food, bake, you know, put stuff out, put some candy out for the children, etc., etc. You don't have to do all this extra stuff. It's already incorporated into the holiday. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay, let's see. Let me see. I think I missed one. Okay. Oh, Goddess Warrior, sprinkle, sprinkle. Appreciate you, girl. Yes. All right. So let's continue. Um, Holidays. Let's talk about holidays now. So I don't have a lot of lights on me because it's kind of hot, and I don't want to bring the fan over here because it'll be too loud. So holidays. A lot of the holiday traditions are the same. You know what I'm saying? They're always going to be giving and getting, receiving energy, taking energy, giving gifts, receiving gifts. Da, 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 da. It's all an energetic exchange. It's all like a lot of people practice vampirism and they don't even realize it. So, um, If you encounter, like I said, a vampire that the worst ones in my, well, they're both can be pretty bad, but the worst ones are the ones who don't know that they're a vampire and they just feel like people don't like them. It's because you have to be proper. You have to be a proper vampire. If you're one of those people and you can't real figure out why people don't like you, sit down and write all the things that you need to, you know, allow before you start engaging a conversation with people. What do you need to offer them something? Do you need to light a candle? Do you need to um, think about what it is you're telling them and why you're telling them this? Think about the things that you say before you speak. Is it for you? Is it for them? Is it more beneficial for you or is it more beneficial for them? If it's more beneficial for you, you may be draining their energy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, sprinkle, sprinkle. I appreciate you. Oh, God is well read. I thank you, girl. Okay, so um, if you're one of those unintentional vampires that people just don't like, or they don't like to be around very long, or you find yourself draining people of energy and they just won't have to get away from you, you need to become a proper intentional vampire versus one that doesn't know what they're doing. So come with offerings, come with gifts, a compliment, um, you know, before you start the discussion. And instead of throwing out all your problems on a person, do an exchange. So, for example, if you want to talk about something, instead of dumping all over another person, just say one thing, then ask them a question about one thing and listen intently, talk, give them some feedback, get it? And then allow them to ask you about your other thing, and then you speak. Those people that energy steal by just dumping all that stuff on you and talking about all their problems and da 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 da, and you're not really being able to speak, they're kind of draining your energy. So if you are that type of person, be aware that that's what you're doing. So say that. Even if you're not even paying attention, just give them the time to speak. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Sorry, I had to answer. Um, you love this channel. Here's my offering. Oh, thank you, God. Okay, I appreciate you, girl. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So, um, another thing, like, okay, let's get into the modern technologies. uh, While I use a modern form of technology. Okay, texting, same thing. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh, JT, I appreciate that too. So when y'all play these texting games, and someone doesn't text you back right away, um, a lot of ladies or a lot of guys, they get upset because they feel like they're giving you energy through the phone and you're not giving it back. This is why they have automatic text, y'all. You can program automatic text to say, I am busy right now, but thank you for your text. I will definitely get back to you when I get the chance. If you want to be a proper vampire, you can put that on. They'll know it's the automatic text. They'll at least feel like they got something back and they know that you've gotten their text and da da da. So automatic texts to be proper. Um, this is why the proper, you know, elite, a lot of people compare them with vampires. This is why after you get a gift or attend a party, they send you a thank you card. So you just didn't come to their party or event and eat up all their food and drink up all their drink and leave. You know, you might have donated some money. Okay. But for attending their event and doing whatever, or a gift that you brought them, you know, you get a thank you card in return. That is the proper energy exchange. And it also reminds you that this person has lots, abundance, the time, the energy to sit down and write you out a card. That means they have more time, more energy, more abundance, more of this and more of that. Well, they actually have the time to have learned manners. They are from, this is how they show you how their levels of energy, how far that they go. Is it money? Is it time? Is it leisure? You know? So this is why you see a lot of rich people doing the utmost when it comes to manners, because it's a form of vampirism. You said etiquette rules, yes. And all of those things are so that you're not constantly draining your friends and your family or the people that are supporting you or the people that are, visiting or whatnot. So this is the proper etiquette. What if he plays texting games? Then he's not proper. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Automatic texts, ma'am, may help you. Okay. You said you never go to anyone's house empty-handed. You know what? That's so true. Even if you have to just give them something, just a gift card, some flowers, a bottle of wine, some people bring a cake, hostess gift, yes, a candle. When I was younger, I used to bring people like small things like a candle or something like that. You can, like, if you don't have a lot of money and you go to a lot of people's houses, you could go to the Dollar Tree, ma'am, sir, get you a little Dollar Tree candle or something. Look, isn't this cute? I don't think I got this from the Dollar Tree. This is from World Market, but still, you always, like, whenever you go shopping, always pick up an extra thing and put it in a little box so that when you are going over to visit someone's house, or when someone may come over here on a holiday or gifts are exchanged unexpected, you have something. So always make sure you have a little gift, an extra gift, flowers, something to bring to wherever you're going, or to have whenever people are expecting gifts. Always have that. I always have that. I got a little bag. Actually, it's not even little. It's a big bag now of just random stuff that I can take over people's house or gift them if they come over for Christmas or some sort of holiday. You said, are Christians vampires? Do they take people's energy? Everyone is vampiric at some point, but maybe they're not overly taking energy. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter your religion. I mean, if a vampire wasn't Christian in the first place, why would they be afraid of the cross on the movies? So it goes through any religion. Religion doesn't matter. So like I said, people that drain your energy through emotion, through fear, through attention seeking are using vampiric energies. Okay. And that's to get your attention and your focus and to persuade you to do exactly what they need you to do. They use it a lot in the media. Um, a lot of celebrities use that to get attention so that they can promote themselves. And when you sit, the funny thing is when people sit and gossip and talk about celebrities and things like that, they're giving their energy over to those celebrities anyway, or to those people, whoever they're talking about, to be your friend. You're giving them your energy because you're talking about them. And when you talk about someone, it's like you're hovering over them and you're about them. And they can literally just drain your energy from the outside. You know what I'm saying? So that's why people that gossip stay poor. You ever notice the most people that gossip are not the rich people? If you have light gossip, that's different. It's as an icebreaker, that's different. But if that's all you do all day long, every day, all day, it's going to take a toll on you. This is why I was telling people, like, if you partake in too much gossip, especially if it's about certain people, you're going to get drained, and they're just going to be, promoted only because, all, you know, all advertisement is good advertisement because you're saying their names. So, so that's real vampire transmutation. Yes, it is. So this is why, like I said, a lot of people get you to talk about them so that they can drain your energy, your finances, your attention, da 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 da, and it pays off for them. And it's just one form of being a vampire. There are industries that are very vampiric. Vamp- Lots of different industries that are like that. So now, a lot of people have been telling their truths lately. And that's one thing a vampire sometimes does not like revealed, especially if they're not done doing what they need to do, or if they did something that they're not proud of. I'll say that again. That could be anything. It could be how they got their money, how they got to where they got, da 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 da. They're not proud of that. They want to keep that part hidden. Okay. And so this is where you get the type of vampirism that becomes mean or revengeful or bad or evil when something is trying to be hidden. This is why they have vampires that get buried in the ground, live in a coffin, and live in darkness because whatever they've done, they want to stay hidden. This is why they don't have a reflection in the mirror because they can't look at themselves because of how they got what they got. But there are also good vampires who got what they got for just being themselves, and they don't have any shame in it. So you have to know which one you're dealing with. You're going to find the ones that want to keep things in the dark. This is why you see them, and they can become threatening sometimes, or they can say things that you're not sure if it's a threat or not, or you can see them, get upset about, or you can see their triggers easily at certain levels. So this is why some people are not, dealing with certain people or won't deal with certain people because they already know if something should be told or said or whatever, they would lose a lot of that energy and a lot of the things that made them who they are. So that's why some people, they don't deal with certain people because they don't want to have to deal with that. Okay. The highest form of vampire, in my opinion, are the self rejuvenating vampires, the ones that have or can create their own energy and don't have to take from anyone else. I mean, you people will take offerings all day, every day. But those that don't have to steal or do things or in debt people or anything like that, those are the types of vampires that can help other people get to that, a similar level. hmm You say I'm getting energy from everyone in this chat. I sure am. But like I said, it's a free will to click on it. And I'm telling y'all about the psychology of vampires so that y'all could use it too at some point. you know. So learn, listen, and learn. It's not a bad thing. If you're always going to label something good or evil, then you're not ready. Go somewhere else. You ain't ready. You still scared. Go elsewhere. You can't label something good or evil. I mean, take a battery, for example. You got a negative and a positive side. It's not going to work if you ain't got both sides. It's not going to work. Okay. So if you're trying to say this is good or this is bad, you're in the wrong place. That's so elementary. It's your choice, it's your decision, and it's the choices that you make at that moment. Is it a good or a bad choice? So now, if you continuously make bad choices and do bad things over and over and over and over, and people just say, oh, you're a bad person because most decisions and choices that you make are bad, yes, you can assume that that person is bad. But when you are talking about many things and trying to teach people certain things, you don't have to be labeled bad for teaching, what people call vampirism. I can call it something else. I can name it another name if it makes you feel better, but it's literally the same thing. Some people say vampires are narcissistic. Yes, some of them are. You have some more narcissistic than others. Some more focused on themselves and gaining, some more focused on, their whatever their, intention is, and then that's it. And some more focused on, surviving. There's all different sorts. There's all like if you watch any vampire show or a movie, you'll see that there's different tiers and levels of vampires. There's good ones, bad ones that's trying to just make it in this world. Da, 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 da. But there's all different kinds. It's like there's all different kinds of people. Okay. If a certain species of animals were to see a human, they would all call humans evil for because they cut down trees and take away their homes that are forests. So when you see any human person, do you automatically label them evil? What about the people that don't believe in them cutting down trees? Da, 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 da. Yeah. You can't label something good or evil. It just is. And the choices that are made are good or bad. Okay. All right. yes. Yes. Narcissistic tendencies are to serve you, make sure you're allowing and some people fall into that category because and they're a vampire because they didn't get what they needed elsewhere. And so instead of depending on, people to do certain, things in the correct manner, they just assume that you're not going to do it, so they have to take it. You know what I'm saying? So it's also like people are going to assume that you're not going to do certain things, so they're going to take it upon themselves to make sure they get what they need. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, like I don't know how many parents are watching, but if you have a child and you know that they're not going to do a certain thing because you'll keep it, you already prepare for them not have doing those certain chores or whatever. You've already prepared for it instead of assuming that they were done and then they weren't. So that's a good example of it. A bad example of narcissism and like trying to get your way and people to bend to you and give you the attention and control you emotionally and da 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 da. It's because they don't think you're going to like whatever it is that they're presenting to you, and they have to make it work for a certain reason. Okay. Not saying it's all good and it's all bad. Some are good, some are bad. Just depends on the reason. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Thanks, Miss Goddess K. Appreciate that, girl. All right. So, what do you do with the food after it's been sitting on the altar? Whatever you want to do with it, ma'am. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Some people, if it hasn't been sitting up there long, they'll eat with that energy or that spirit. They'll have a plate of food with them, or they'll give it to nature or whatever. You throw it away, something. It doesn't matter. Some people choose foods that don't go bad fast, like fruit or something like that. So depending on what you, if you don't like to waste food, use fruit. This is why when you go to like some of these restaurants where like they have like Chinese food or, you'll see an altar to their ancestors with fruit versus a whole plate of food. Okay. Someone says they put bourbon, liquor, alcohol, wine. Yeah. Yep. This is why in certain, magical practices and ancestor, magical practices, they offer alcohol and liquor. So, okay. You said drink alcohol with them. Exactly. Just like a vampire. If you are just tuning in, I discussed this earlier in the video. So libations, libations. So they're called libations. They keep you alive. Oh, Mike, sprinkle, sprinkle. Appreciate that. Yes. Okay. So if you don't know what to do with something, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like I don't mean to get on y'all so mean, but don't half step. Either figure out what you want to do with it or use your common sense. Like a lot of people say, what do you do with stuff after spell work? Use your common sense. Is it a good spell or a bad spell? Do you want to come into you or going away from you? Like, does it need to be buried? Does it need to be destroyed? Does it need to be burnt? Where does this energy need to go? Think of spell work like energy. Where does it need to go? Where are you sending this energy to? The remains of the spell work is sort of like the energetic remains. Where does it need to go? That's where you go and put it. Okay. Use your common sense. Part of being, into the occult, into the hidden, into magic and stuff is wisdom. If you don't gain wisdom, then you haven't, what are you doing? You think for yourself too. Don't just be someone that follows instructions. Ask yourself why, or what's the best thing, or where do I need this energy to go? And that's how you decide. Okay. Listen to your intuition. Exactly. You bought self-love oil from Hoodoo Practitioner. Okay. You could have made that yourself. Sprinkle. But if you are new, of course, you're going to want to buy all the good stuff, like definitely. But you can buy the stuff to make it as well. The different herbs, and it's more powerful. You make it yourself. Just saying. But if you put your energy into it, it's powerful too. But it's more powerful when you make things yourself. So, like, I do have a store. It's linked in the description bar. I think it's the last link, where you can buy all your herbs, crystals, candles, little sacks, bags, oils, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to make your own stuff or start getting into making your own things, it's much more powerful. Okay. And I have it's like over 4,000 products on there. So you should be able to find pretty much a lot of things to make your own stuff with. Okay. Also, in romantic relationships, or in any sort of, relationship, but mostly romantic relationships have a lot of vampirism in it. Give and take, give and take, give and take. So this is why women need a man to bring them gifts to pay them bills. Let's get into that. So men seem to want to feel like they have some sort of control or dominance over a woman, right? And in order for her to allow him into her life, into her bed, into all of those things, there needs to be an energetic exchange. Whether it's This is why men bring chocolates and flowers and gifts to dates. It's the same thing. It's manners. And some ladies require a lot more energetic exchange because they feel that their energy is very valuable. Time is money, energy is money, same thing. So if a person feels like they're being drained or used in a certain way, they're gonna call people all sorts of things. You're a you know you're a leech, just like a vampire. Oh, you're a gold digger. Oh, you're this, you're that. But still, that particular person wants something from them. They still want something from them, still. So it's called an exchange. And whatever the person values themselves, however high the person values themselves, that's their value. And you can't change it unless, you are trying to be even more vampiric. Don't do it. Just say, okay, I'm not for you. I don't have enough resources around me to feed you. Uh-huh. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like sending that thank you card after someone attended your event or sent you a gift. It's like, I have the time, energy, resources, the fine stationery, the stamp to send you a handwritten letter through the mail to say thank you for attending an event because that's my style. Someone could just send a text and thanks for inviting me. Someone could just send you an email, thanks for coming. But this says class and style. This is a little bit extra. It costs a little bit more. It's just a little bit extra. You know what I'm saying? So that's that person's method and standards of, saying thank you. Not everybody is the same. You can't call someone, a certain name because they have a certain style. That's just it. Different type of vampire. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, pretty pancakes, sprinkle, sprinkle. You said you were skinny and sick as a kid, and when you moved out, both your parents who were controlling got very sick. Interesting. Yeah, they might have just been feeding off your energy, ma'am. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So this is why, like, when people say they give their kids everything, like your kids have lots of things, you buy them what they want, you make sure they're happy, you make sure they have everything they need, you make sure they're well fed, you give them love and all that kind of stuff. That's why they're not healthy. I mean, that's why they're healthy, and that's why the parents stay healthy because it's an energy exchange. If you don't give your kids enough attention, energy, love, food, comforts, needs and wants, it's gonna backfire at one point, or they're gonna have to find a way to get it themselves. You know what I'm saying? And this is important because sometimes they go seek it from other people. So that's why you need to give energy and love and abundance and things like that to your kids at home because it is still a vampiric relationship. Most relationships are vampiric unless you are constantly feeding, giving, uh, and putting positive energy. This is important. This is why, like, when you have a bad relationship with someone, you feel drained. You feel like you don't want to be there. You feel like they're repelling you in some sort of way because they are. And so, a lot of people, what they tend to do is protect themselves, separate themselves, or, um, you know, create some sort of barrier between each other, whether it be um, going somewhere, spending more time with other people that are more positive. So a lot of people ask me, well, what if you're in a family or a household where, the person is negative or draining or da 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 da? You separate yourself from it. Or you find out why they're that way and you try to help them if you care about them by offering them something that they need so that they don't seek it from you all the time. Okay. You said, are incubus and succubus vampires? Yes. Those are astral vampires. Those are astral vampires. So let's say you are um, astral traveling or meditating or sending your intention to someone that's not near you, and you make them think of you. This is like, mental magic. You make them think of you sexually and whatnot. That's a succubus or an incubus type vampire. Okay. We said, why some necromancer be looking so sickly? Necromancer looks sickly because they're not offering the dead enough energy, money. I'm not money, or they're not offering the dead enough energy exchange. So this is why, like I said, on lots of movies, when people are practicing necromancy, you see them lighting lots of candles. That's the energy that the dead are drawing from instead of you. So get you some candles, light them up. All right. If you work with lots of energy ancestors, you have lots of candles. Y'all get them candles on my shop. The last link in the description bar. You can buy tons of spell candles for different things. There's different types on there for different things. Get you some candles, ma'am. That's why when you go to the Catholic Church, y'all know the Catholic Church is like the main church that be practicing this type of stuff, right? They always got them candles lit. Candles here, candle. You can light a candle for this person. You can light a candle. They always have these candles everywhere in the Catholic Church. Why? Because the body of Christ, when y'all worship a dead person that died and resurrected like a vampire, or a zombie, or whatever you want to call it, be undead, and you have to drink the blood and eat the body. I mean, that's vampirism right there. That's all it is. And so when you go to church, that's why they got them candles, especially Catholic Church. You go and light the candle. And that's why they also, like a lot of cathedrals, they have the spire on top of the chapel, because it's like a phallic symbol for the energy to go into the heavens or to the womb. So it's all an energetic exchange from the people inside. Okay. And that's why you give money, tithes and offering. That's another energetic exchange. So church is a huge vampiric energetic exchange. And so it's religion, which is why I feel like a lot of people don't realize that, because they have not, I think it was Nikola Tesla that says if you start seeing everything like energy, you'll know so much more, or something like that. And you start looking at everything as energy, and you're going to start to see stuff you never seen before. And what I mean, like, okay, do y'all remember on the movie The Matrix how, when Neo was looking at stuff and it started turning into these numbers and stuff like that? That was like a metaphor for seeing everything as code, or seeing everything as energy exchange. When you see everything as an energy exchange, and then think about the metaphors and the stories and why, why is it like this? Because it's a vampiric energetic exchange, which is why when you go to church, they give you blood and communion or wine and a piece of bread or cracker, communion, whatever that little thing y'all be eating is. This is why in the Catholic Church, you got to go to the confessional, and the priest lets you dump all that stuff out on him, so you ain't got to dump it out and take it out on other people. Okay, and then he tell you to sing Hail Mary by Tupac, and that's it. Right? Y'all know they tell you to say all the different prayers. Sprinkle, sprinkle. How you disconnected from someone else's unpleasant energy, it seems harder than okay. The trauma bond. Yeah. Get away from them or focus on something else or give your energy elsewhere so that it can't be taken from you by them. Or have lots of candles lit when they come around. Okay. Or, there are different crystals that some people use or um, things like that, charms. So find a protective crystal or something like that. But also keep a lot of candles lit. If you can't be where candles are, oh yeah, my Halloween ring. Keep lots of candles lit. If not, keep protective crystals if you believe in that because it has a frequency. Or you can do oils, whatever, perfumes, whatever. That's why like you can make your own oils and perfumes to protect yourself. You can carry crystals. You can either even do a energetic protection field around you if you practice magic. But definitely um, there's teas that you can drink that also give out a protective frequency, or just stay unbothered and don't really listen to that person, and you think about something else. That's the simplest way. While they're blabbering, you're not really listening. You're simply thinking about other things that need to do, or you kind of tune them out. That's why the phrase tune them out is because you're tuning out their frequency. It's not affecting yours because you're tuning them out. So tune them out and make, you know, some type of plans or think about what you're going to do instead. So tune out. That's it. Ignore, tune out, ma'am. So now, okay, let's get into the reason why how they kill vampires in movies. Why is it a stake through the heart? What is that a metaphor for? When you break their heart. In order to hurt an energetic vampire or any type of vampire that's trying to get you to do what they want, once they get you under their control, once they get you where they want you, once they know that they can take your energy, and once they think they got you, if you are the one that breaks their heart, when they felt like they were in control and they were the master and they were all that, it hurts more. Okay, so that's a form of breaking their heart. Because where do you go from there? Especially if it's a romantic exchange or a betrayal. Or also the heart is a frequency. So a tune. So you break their frequency or you break their tune or you break their, when I say tune out, it's broken. You are no longer in tune with them, period. So it could be all of those. Daylight, their secrets are exposed. Okay. The sun, the frequency of daylight, what's done in the dark comes to light. So it's when they're exposed. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Is the veil thinner around Halloween? I think so many people say that it is. People believe that it is. So if you believe that something is, then most likely it is. If you look into it scientifically and energetically, I'm pretty sure that you can find something to kind of prove it. So you just do your research. But definitely a lot of people say that. Yes. So um another thing, thank you for the donation, by the way. Another thing is when you out of tune with the vampire, they can no longer control you. They're gone. They're dead to you. You've exposed them. You know, they no longer affect you because they're powerless. So yeah. Another way that they kill vampires, what? Fire? Yeah, because burning something is literally taking their energy. So you become a bigger vampire. You absorb all of their energy, or you take away their ability to take energy by turning them into energy, which means you're now a vampire and taking their energy. Okay. How can one become a self-sustaining vampire? Can a vampire stop being a vampire? Yes, by being proper. Oh, Texas Bama Sprinkle. The proper. Okay, so this is why, like, whenever you see vampires being peaceful and cordial on some of these TV shows and movies, they're eating or drinking, or they're in a lavish environment, or they're being rich and like donating and stuff like that, because there's a buffer in between, or there's lots of candles lit and fire. So instead of taking someone's energy, they're getting energy from the fire, from the candles, from the wine, from the food. It's like an offering. So this is why you don't come to someone's house empty-handed. This is why around holidays there's lots of food, festivities, drinking, and feasts, because it keeps you from draining each other's energy and fighting. I mean, this is kind of, I don't want to say this because a lot of people are like, oh, that's not politically correct. I know, but think about this: the less people have, the more they fight, the more violent they become with each other. The more people have, the more buffers they have in between them, and they can do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? So it's because the less you have to feed off of, you feed off of each other. This is why you have certain neighborhoods where there's a lot of poor people and there's more violence and crime versus the rich neighborhoods, because they have other stuff to do. They're not hungry. They're not starved of, the finer things in life. So there's no reason for them to steal or be jealous or kill, the next person, because they already have everything they want and need. This is one of the other forms of vampirism. When you don't have enough of something, you become more violent. So this is why I tell people on my other channel, when you're looking for certain, types of relationships and certain types of men, you go to the nice areas where there's more money. So they can't tell if you're feeding off of them or not. It's not obvious, but when you're all in a vicinity of lack, it's every person for themselves. It's survival mode. Okay, so this is why when you think of like vampire, you think of rich, elite. You got to have buffers, drinks, lunch, brunch, home warming gifts. People bring wine or a bottle of alcohol to them. And thank you cards after this. Blah, blah, blah. Buffers. Okay. You say, can I talk about vervain? Actually, vervain is an herb or from a flower, and they use it a lot in van oil as well as lemongrass. And they make this in New Orleans a lot. And it definitely protects you, and it also allows you to have more of a psychic sense of awareness. It also relaxes you so that you're not putting out a fast vibration. And so you're more laid back, unbothered, and relaxed. The frequency is not, because you can make tea with this. Okay, because I used to grow this in my garden, and you can make a tea that relieves anxiety, but it also is an appetite, makes your appetite more. So you will want to eat more. So then you become the feeder versus being fed upon. And your anxieties are less, therefore your heart rate is lower. So your frequency is not as high for anyone else to feed on. So technically, scientifically, it is a correct form of protection against any type of psychic, energetic vampires. But if you're trying to lose weight, I do not recommend, because it will make you hungry. which means you'll start feeding off of other people's energy or whatever food they brought you. You know what I'm saying? A good, and this has nothing to do with vampirism, but a good alternative to vervain tea that gives you the same effects except it doesn't make you hungry is skull cap. Now that type of tea is named skull cap because it doesn't make you hungry, but it still relieves the anxiety and it relaxes you almost to like a nice flow. So it will allow you not to vibrate as high so people can't steal your energy as fast. So you just have to compensate with like a healthier snack or drink. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. It's, I have a garden. I have all of these herbs and things like that to also help with a lot of things. You can also buy the herbs, from my store, or you can buy fresh herbs or grow your own in a garden. I definitely suggest growing your own because you're putting your energy into that and it's more powerful. Yeah. Back in the old days, most people had their own personal gardens to grow their own flowers, herbs, teas, and da 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 da. So if you have the space and the time and the energy, definitely do that. Mm-hmm. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said you use skull cap to help with stop smoking. Okay, yes. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said, what if they bring a cake and we eat it together after dinner? As long as they brought you something, ma'am. It's a gift into your house. They brought it for you, for your energy, for your sustenance. Okay. Maybe you take a little sample taste. I don't know. Um, Now, in this day and age, though, people think you're doing too much when oh, they're desperate. They brought me a housewarming gift. No, that's just proper. So that's why you don't buy something that's too expensive, because then people just think you're desperate. So just be, don't overdo it. Something simple, a small candle is fine. A small flower arrangement. So, like someone said, a cake, a bottle of wine, um, things like that. If you are an intentional vampire, or um, you should know the proper ways. If you are unintentional, you don't know, just bring a gift anyway. It's a small gift, doesn't matter. So try that if you feel like you're a vampire, you don't really know it. Like if you take people's energy, if you just show up to people's house and start blabbing around, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to invite you back over." Start being a proper person, and you'll drain less energy. Also, be able to control your emotions, because when you're super emotional, when you lash out a lot, you're also expanding energy and invoking other people's emotional energy that they have to express, which means you're still stealing their energy even if you're not taking it for yourself. So when you make people mad, it's the same thing. So try to remain neutral if you can. If you are making them mad, to steal their energy because they made you mad and you can't control your emotions, it gives a level of emotional immaturity, and you're not able to control your emotions. Therefore, you're an unintentional vampire. Therefore, you don't even know what you're doing. Therefore, people aren't going to invite you back over because you lack manners. So that's why you have to make sure you learn manners, especially in someone else's house. When you go to someone else's house, you're in their domain. You got to have manners. You don't go there to dump your trash. You go there to visit, to exchange, politeness, and things like that. You don't go in there and dump your trash. You don't go in there and do, you know, how like some kids don't know any better. They'll go over someone else's house and make a mess or they'll do something that they're not supposed to do, or they'll be rude by doing this, and that. So you have to have manners when you go over people's houses. That's part of the whole vampire thing. People feel like you're invading their space. People feel like you don't respect their space. People feel like you drain their energy. People feel like you may be, doing this, and that. So you gotta be careful when you go over people's house. This is why they always say, "I need you to invite me in." This is why vampires always need the invitation to come in, because some are their nature is just to take energy. And if you know their nature and you know that they're a vampire and you still invite them in, then you're okay with that. So that's why you have to invite them in, or you say, you can't come in my house because you don't have the proper rules. You don't know how to act. You cray. You stay over there. So this is the psychological part to it. You can't come into my house because you don't have no manners and you're not behaved and I don't trust you. That's what they're saying. Okay. Sorry, y'all. There's somebody mowing outside. So either way you put it, you can put it in different words. You don't even have to use the word vampire. It's close to Halloween. It's October. I mean, a lot of the monsters, thank you for being a member. A lot of the monsters are literally just metaphor for types of people. And we all know that. A lot of horror movies are just metaphors for trauma that happened to people. This is why a lot of people don't get scared from horror movies, because they know exactly what it's a metaphor of. Like, I can watch all the horror movies and still not get scared, because I can, say, okay, that's a metaphor for this. That's a metaphor for that type of trauma. This is what may have happened to that person. This is why they're reacting this way. This is why they see themselves as this type of monster, or other people see them as this, it's not a horror movie to me. It's literally a psychological decode. So it's just in a darker way. It's just still the same. No. You said this is why you don't chase a guy, you're giving away energy. Exactly. All right. Sexual vampires, they just want sex. That's all they have to offer. Okay. Because think about this. When you have a rich vampire, or an older, like, think about the movies. When you have an older rich vampire, they're not always after sex. They're after so much more. You got a young one, that's all they're after, sex, because they don't have anything else. They don't have the wisdom, the experience, or a lot of the money, or knowledge and wisdom that the older ones have. So younger people tend more for the sexual vampirism, because they feel like that's how they can control someone, or that's how they can get what they want, or that's how they can take their energy by making them think about them. So they use that. But when you're older, you need more than just sex. That's the same thing. Like, a woman, like, of a certain age, she needs more. This is why they give the vampires more, so that they can easily seduce. They don't, like, you ever seen a vampire that says, all I got is this? No, you got to have a nice house. You got to have some land. You got to have some authority. You got to have some power. You got to have some, something. Manners. Otherwise, they don't want to deal with you. You're just a predator. See? So, you said, wow, you never realized vampires have such nice manners. Yes, they do. And this is the kind that you want to deal with, because they know what they're doing. And if you know what you're doing, or if you allow them to do what they do, then you already know. But at least they have the manners. Some people don't have the manners, or some people are unintentional and they don't know. And when you learn, that's when you learn. Okay. So how do people make other people into vampires? Here's another question. How do they make you into vampire? They show you their power first as a vampire. Then they ask you if you want it. Do you want this power? Or do you want to learn how to do this? And da da da. So they ask you. Or, some of them ask the proper ones. They ask you. And then through an energetic mental exchange, it could be all types of exchanges. You know what I'm saying? Any type of exchange. However, if whatever is appropriate to the relationship, however is it exchanged, is how you will receive that knowledge or um, the energy or the mental of it. And also, if you're a student, you know how they have like apprentices or students or whatever, and you learn, and you already know about it, da 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 da. Your knowledge has to also increase on how to properly use that. Okay. And when you're properly using something, then you are more aware and less likely to be an unintentional. Yeah. Okay. 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 You said your cat's a vampire? Well, there are always animals that are, closely linked to vampires. So, yes. You said you wish those people share you wish people with those special powers come up to you and ask me. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Well, the vampire also needs to want you. But think about that. Think about it in all the movies. Whenever someone turns another into a vampire, that person has some value to them. So, sorry. Oh, oh. They have some value to them. So therefore, why would they change them? Sprinkle, sprinkle. So you said how to get a provider guy if you're asexual. If you're asexual, don't tell nobody, man. It's the first thing. Number one, don't tell nobody. Sorry. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. Let me read some of these questions. Okay. Also, the the person that they change into vampires most likely doesn't want anything from the vampire themselves. So there's some level of not fearing being fed upon by that person if they become a vampire or get the knowledge on how to use these certain, techniques. I'll just put it that way. So they don't fear them mostly, and they don't feel like that they're, the other person's trying to gain anything from them. You said you wish you had compulsion powers. I think the more you know psychology, symbolism, occult meanings of certain things, and the more you read and learn, the more it will be revealed on how to use those powers. Because it comes from seeing what is unseen to most humans, or being super observant, or being able to see the metaphor in certain things. That's One of the ways. Okay. Mhm. What you feel that way for every horror movie. Yeah, and no horror movie scares me anymore. Sorry. It's because you know too much. It's like when you know too much, horror movies aren't scary anymore. They're just a dark way to express some type of trauma that happened to someone or uh, a metaphor for a type of person. That's all it literally is. So I don't like it's not scary anymore. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Sure, it literally just answered that question. Are you even listening? A lot of them just want to repeat and repeat and repeat because they're not listening. They're just bots. But anyway, those of you who are listening, yes, you're going to stop reincarnating into this mess if you learn anything about energy. If, if you want to, man, but where are you going to go? You know, when vampires die or when people die, um, and they want to don't want to reincarnate into anything anymore, where do you go? So unless you have that answer, I really wouldn't say that if I were you. If you don't know anything else, or if you don't have faith in anything else, definitely find out where it is you want your energy to go before you say that. And I only say that because some people just say that they don't want to be back here, but where do you want to go? Do you know, like if you were some energy and you were traveling somewhere, do you know how to get to where you need to go? You know what to avoid? Do you know what sucks up and uses your energy over and over and over? Even if you escaped this plane, do you know what else is out there that could use you once again in a cycle? Like what? You have to have knowledge in order to say those type of things and really get the results that you want. So wherever it is that you go, I hope that it's well researched and that it's exactly what you are trying to go to. Definitely. You want to get to a better planet. Okay. We've already discussed energetic vampires earlier in the video. Um, mm, Vampirism and individuality, the same thing. Note, everyone is some form of vampire, whether they're aware of it or not. Some people are stronger rather than weaker than others. Like some people, if you just take their body, if you just measure the frequency of their body, there's people with higher vibrations, people with lower vibrations, people with lower temperatures, people with higher temperatures, depending on so many things. So it also has to do with your mental, and it also has to do with the other person's amount of energy that they have and the buffers in between. So it's all a situation. So if you have someone with a high frequency and someone with a low frequency, and the person with the low frequency is taking energy from the high frequency person and lowering their frequency and then leaving with that energy because they couldn't get it up the energy on their own, then that's vampirism. You know what I'm saying? Like if a lot of people come to my channel because they can't get motivation, or they can't give themselves permission, or they don't have the confidence within themselves to create a certain lifestyle or have certain standards, so they come over here and they listen to me speak. They get my frequency and my vibration across the screen to give it to them so that they have that energy, that frequency to say what they need to say, to feel how they need to feel, and to react to others how they need to react to others. It's the same thing. It's an energy exchange. And a lot of people don't realize this. In person, it's much stronger because you're sitting in the same room. Okay. It's not even an evil. Vampirism is not an evil. People make it an evil because so many people use it in a negative way, but it also can be used in a positive way, just like food. You know, animals can say that y'all humans are evil creatures for eating them. Animals can say, oh, chickens can say that, they be eating my eggs every day. They don't kill me, but they still take from me. Same thing. It's not evil, it's just an energy exchange. If you're not getting anything in return and it's taken, 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 take, that's when it becomes looking like evil. Okay. Watch the beginning of the video if you just tuned in, or watch the beginning because a lot of people don't realize that manners can alleviate a lot of forms of vampirism, certain manners. Okay. Oh, PGS, sprinkle, sprinkle. Appreciate that. Yes. Okay. Plants could be, plants keep growing. Yeah, anything you do is energy exchange. Energy never dies. This is why the vampire is eternal. This is why humans are eternal. This is why humans turn into vampires. It's all the same. They're just using different words, different metaphors to describe different types of people. So, sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay, Norma, appreciate that. Appreciate that, girl. Okay. Now, why is the vampire so youthful? Why do they look so youthful? Why are they, how do they retain their youth? No stress, because they don't give unnecessary energies away. They retain their look by obtaining energy in other ways, such as money, such as less labor. Sorry, such as less labor. Okay. Such as, you know, uh, not being emotionally out of control. You see? So they use all that stored energy, all that rest. That's why they sleep in the coffins a lot, like, sleep like the dead. Like they're unbothered. They sleep very well, day or night, but mostly in the daytime. I mean, if you can sleep in the daytime, if you can sleep in the daytime, that means you ain't got to go clock into nobody's job. You have money. You know what I'm saying? Also, it's another way of saying, I am not of the day. So sometimes it could be a metaphor for sleeping at night. I mean, sleeping in the day, being alive at night. It's because, night is when things are hidden. So occult, it means hidden. So they use a lot of symbolism, psychology, mentalism, occult types of magic. That's when it's strongest. So therefore, either way, they don't expound too much energy. They make more money than they spend energy. They are smarter when it comes to energy exchange for money. Okay. So therefore it's like, okay, money, I'm not getting ready to work 8 hours for that amount. I need to find a easier, faster way to get it. So they're very smart with money. They don't exchange their time for, too little of money. They find several streams of income, which is the same thing as like currency, which is the same thing as frequency or energy. They find several streams. They don't feed off of just one person. They may have several people that they feed from. It's like they don't have only one stream of income. They may have several streams of income to where they get their money. That's another thing. Being a vampire is being able to get energy from anywhere, anyhow, whether it's money, energy from people, whatever. It keeps them youthful because they don't work as much. Sorry. And they figure out other ways to get what they want. It's the same thing. Okay. So, A sound effect? I don't know. It just depends because it's frequency. Depends on what sound it is, I guess. Oh, I don't know. Mhm. How do you protect yourself from hater and jealous energy of vampires? The best way to protect yourself from anything, from anyone, is to stay unbothered. They don't exist to you. And the only way they can get your acknowledgement or energy is if you decide to give it to them. That's it. That's how you protect yourself. Unbotheredness, darling. Make a pact with yourself that you only consciously give energy to people by consciously saying, I am giving you this. That way you're not unintentionally giving away energy. You can tell them, this is what I'm consciously giving you. You can say, this is what I choose to tell you when I choose to tell you. Listen to this, and use buffers between yourselves. So like if there's haters and things like that, it's like, you know, have it have a candle burn. They're gonna feed off you. They're not really feeding off you, they're feeding off the scented candle over here, you know. Light your fireplace in the winter. Um, you know, light up whatever it is you need to light up. Stay unbothered. But they're you're a problem to them. They're not a problem to you. So start to see things as they really are and not as they want you to see them, not as they want to persuade you to see them. If you have all the power and the energy, you keep it by not acknowledging anything else that's not bothering you or way beneath you. You see? This is why when people talk about certain celebrities, they don't even get a response. They don't even get a reaction because they're so beneath them. Their energy is not even necessary nor needed. But when you hate or talk about someone else, you're definitely giving them more energy, more money, or whatever. So allow that to just be what it is. You don't need to do anything unless you are in the struggle. When I say in the struggle, that means you don't know your power. That means you're playing, tug of war. Stop playing tug of war. Let it go, man. Let it go. Let them play by themselves. Okay, keep doing whatever it is you're doing because obviously it's the right way. Okay. If you live in fear, that's a form of vampirism. If you're constantly scared of everything, scared of everybody taking your energy, scared of everybody doing this, scared of people hating on you, you're a victim. So you are being drained already. Okay. Yeah. So stop being the victim of a vampire and you won't have to worry about any of that. A lot of people don't realize that they're victims to vampires because they literally sign up to be a victim. So if it's not an even exchange, if you're not gaining more, if you leave a situation in fear, then you're a victim of that type of energy. Okay. Knowledge, reading and knowing more, being able to decode things, knowing occult symbolism will help a lot of you guys to not fall victim to any sort of, vampirism. And it may even teach you how to be, to get more energy for yourself if need be. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, can women especially? There are minerals in the elixir, so definitely. Um, those should be linked in the description bar too. The elixirs. They do have lots of minerals that aren't naturally in the earth that people used to get from drinking water out of like pure clean streams or eating, vegetables that were grown in, soil that had the minerals and stuff like that. Gold, platinum, a lot of different stuff that you can't like just get elsewhere. So a lot of those minerals also connect you with a higher frequency that you wouldn't get just by drinking pure like water that's been filtered and stuff. So okay. So that's why you walk barefoot in the mud. Yeah. Okay. You said Jezebel is a strong woman that don't let nobody break her down. Um, Okay, so if you want to look at that from a vampiric um perspective, you can look at it like this. Okay, so if the wife asks her husband to do something and he can't get the job done, she's gonna find a way to go get it done. Period. She tried to get him to do something. He wouldn't do it, so she had to gather the energy from others, the authority, to go and get what she needed to get done. That's literally just it. So a lot of people feel like it's a way to get something when someone else told you no. Start to start. All right. You scared of dogs? What does that mean? You scared of dogs? I'm not scared of anything. So the less fears you have, the less people can control you. That's another thing. Get over your fear. Go pet some dogs. I don't know. Go to a dog shelter. Go look and pet some dogs. Usually people that are afraid of dogs don't trust themselves. Or people that are afraid of animals, they don't trust animals because they don't trust their own energy. They're afraid that the animals will pick up some type of energy within them that will allow them to attack. So if you're not in control of your own energy, if you don't know thyself, if you're not in control of what energies that you're putting out, what messages they're giving, what frequency they're giving, that's why people are afraid of animals. Or if there is a certain animal, like not animals in general, but a certain animal that has shown like, that they bite or something like that. Of course, you're not going to let people around that animal. But in general, you know what I'm saying? The energies that you're putting out, you're very unsure of. You don't know your own energy. You don't understand the communication between all things. So therefore, you would be afraid of an animal that you don't feel like you can control. Okay. So if you can't control any animals, don't have them. Don't be around them. Okay. You are the dominant species. If you don't act like it and you don't vibrate like it and you don't know, then that's most likely why you're afraid of. Now let's pretend like there's an animal that's a natural predator. Most people are going to be afraid of lions. Some people aren't. You see them people in Africa petting them lions, walking right with them with a stick or whatever. Talk about because they have been around those animals and they have exchanged energies with those animals and they read each other's energy. It's different than some caged animal in a zoo. Okay, energy is going to be different. So if you are around animals all the time, you are raised around animals, or you worked with animals, or if you know yourself enough to know that nothing bothers you and you can speak energetically with different types of beings, then you're good. Okay. All right. So it just depends on your frequency, why you're afraid of certain things. Get your frequency right. Okay, think about this. Like when you read old books, biblical books, or even books, fairy tales and stuff, people used to be more in tune with animals because more people used to live with nature. When you have been put somewhere where there's less nature, you're less connected, which means you don't know how to interact energetically with certain animals anymore. So there the fear arises, out of not being connected to them. So you have, if you're afraid of some type of animal, you start connecting with them a little bit more or learning about them a little bit more, just, one little step at a time. And then that fear will go. Okay. You're so silly. Some of these comments. Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful to y'all. If y'all have any questions, because I'm getting ready to be done with this video very soon. So, And I think that's also why they use a lot of animals in cartoons and fairy tales and stuff for children. So they can have some sort of connection and feel some sort of connection with animals if they're not in nature naturally, you know. So they have little stuffed animals and things like that. It helps with that because we've been taken out of nature. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And whenever you see a person with a wild animal or something that most people are afraid of, it means they've mastered their energy and their frequency. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I don't know what it means that if you're allergic. I just think it means that, um, you need to take some allergy pills. I don't know, ma'am. Maybe you need a different type of animal because I noticed that when some people are allergic to certain things, it's not they're allergic, they're just allergic to their fur. They got hairless cats, they got short hair cats, they got hairless dogs. You can shave them. I don't know, whatever you. There are pills you could take if you want a pet but can't have it. But usually you just adjust the type of pet that you have. Like if you do your research, you can be like, what type of pet has the least allergic reactions? And then you look that up. What type of cat, what type of dog, you'll find it. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said, why do vampires have super senses like smell and hearing. They're very aware and alert. Their frequency is higher because they're taking energy from other people. You see, their frequency is higher, so their senses are more alert. Okay. Like they notice every little thing, they can hear things more clearly. Things stick out to them more when they have, certain types of meeting. And so you're definitely going to pick up on it, just like a bat. That's why they compare a bat to a vampire because their sonar and their hearing and their frequency is higher. So therefore, you're just more observant and aware of things that most people are not. Okay. Your attention to detail is stronger than theirs. You enjoy life more because your emotions or your frequency are turned up. You're tuned up. So therefore, like a piece of chocolate tastes way better than to a vampire than it does a human, or it could be too sweet. Wine is more, you could taste the notes in the wine more clearly than you could as a human because your senses are exactly heightened. Sparkle, sparkle. Uh-oh, hold on. I gotta sprinkle, sprinkle. You've been watching Vampire Diaries and wish you decode. Yeah, girl, I ain't got time to decode all that. Just listen to what I said and you go decode it yourself. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I appreciate it though. Like get the knowledge and apply it. That's one of the ways that you become a vampire. Don't let everybody just give you stuff. You have to know how to get it for yourself. Most vampires are very independent. They may have one person that they, have, but most vampires are very self-sustaining and very independent besides the people that they are getting their energies from. Remember that. And most of them are loners, which means they spend a lot of time reading. They'll often have like lots of knowledge. So the more you learn, the closer you're going to be to being able to do those sort of things. So get the little information that I give, get some books, read, pay close attention to whatever you're doing or whatever you're watching, and see if you can see those things yourself, because that's how your senses and awareness and your attention to detail develop, by you seeking. You know how those people sew those tiny beads on things and you can't even see that? It's because they're so used to doing it, or looking for the little tiny beads that they can see, very detailed. So that's where it comes from. You seeking the knowledge, you paying closer attention, you trying to observe, you taking those steps. It can't be given to you. It has to be sought out. And then if you stumble upon someone that is able to do more for you in that department, that's what it is. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay. He said, how do you find a victim? Victims usually find you, honestly. So if you noticed that in more of the modern vampire movies, the victims usually find the vampires. They're just out and about. They're just having a good old time. Or sometimes the vampires find the victim if the victim is special enough. Like they have to be someone that is special. Like on the movie Dracula, he's like, because she looked like his old woman, his old wife, his wife that he used to have. So they have to have something special about them to be sought out by the vampire. Otherwise, the victims usually just run into the vampires wherever. You know what I'm saying? Normally, people are energetically, going to take your energy if you allow them to, or you can just get up and walk away. It just depends on who you are and what you know. And if they know that they're taking it, then you can tell them straight up, look, you know what, you're draining the energy. Come on, let's talk about something else. I mean, you can literally just say that. Or you can say, you know what, I need a drink. and then drink. Change the subject. Do something different. Mm. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for clicking that like button. Yeah. Sprinkle, sprinkle. If y'all are new, definitely subscribe. Thank y'all, everyone who donated. I appreciate that. And I will see y'all on the next one. Bye.